I will give you two for Trailblazer signatures, because I don't know if it can be done. If you can tell me where this comes from. We're going to the retreat to move forward. It's a show on NBC. Who says it? Jack Donaghy, awesome. Since we're going to go to the retreat to move forward. Why is this funny?
You're going to get the retreat maximum.
It is, good. You're so smart. Okay, so I want you two in your table groups come up with a 5-second definition. We're going to go through these so quickly just because we know them so well. But I just want to lock these into our brains before we move forward. 5-second definition in your table groups, go.
So don't do it.
Awesome, I heard all correct. KCG, go. You're smart. Okay, good. I heard rushing to conclusions, taking one and applying it to all. Good. Post hoc, here go. Proctor hoc, go. Good. Causation equals correlation. Good. Red herring. Okay, Arissa probably with the strongest example. She said, guys, look, something shiny. Okay? Bifurcation or false dichotomy?
Simplify it.
You're so smart. Genetic fallacy? What is this one? This one we struggle with a little bit. Who can tell me what this is? Yes, Adil.
Because you come from this background, this will happen.
Awesome. You come from this background, you must be this. When you go to college, oh, you're from Texas, you must, you want to go to class on a course, or what's up? Okay, ad hominem. Okay, which would be what? Taking past actions, but what?
Negative.
I haven't heard it yet. Okay, kind of. Who could tell me what this one is? Xavier?
Kind of attacking a person based on their past actions or their character as opposed to their argument.
Good. Attacking someone's character instead of an argument. Okay. And to Kokwe, what is that one? Good. Okay. Here we go. So this is called begging the question. A lot of rhetorical fallacies have two names. So we have bifurcation, which is also false dichotomy. So here we have begging the question, but I want to offer you this. Circular reasoning makes a lot more sense. These are actually two different rhetorical fallacies, but for the purpose of this class, we're going to study them together because they're really close. Maybe you could think of it as one type of rhetorical fallacy with two different modes. Maybe we can walk through it that way. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you lots of examples today, but I want to teach you a few things before you tell me what it is. Have your parents ever argued that you should do something because they said so? Yes. Have you been satisfied with that response?
No.
No? Okay. So your parents say your curfew is at 12 p.m. and you say what?
Why?
Why? Thanks, Christian. Why? And I say, because that's when you need to be in this house. And you say, why? And I say, because your curfew is at 12. Why? Because that's when you need to be in the house. And you go in these circles over and over again. And you're not satisfied and your parents aren't satisfied that you're not listening. Now, if a parent who maybe had studied a bit of rhetorical fallacies wanted to create this argument, he or she might say, you need to be home at 12 p.m. And the teenager would say, why? And I would say this. Statistics prove that others drinking and driving increases after 12 p.m. Teenagers also need a full 9 hours of restorative REM 5 sleep. And we are meeting up with your cousins at 10 a.m. tomorrow, so you can't sleep in late. And the argument is starting to sink in. You're starting to come with me. And finally, the juvenile curfew for Harris County is 12 p.m. to 6 a.m. True story, y'all.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, it is true.
Too bad.
Okay. So the point is, I don't want a whole lot of personal narrative after that one. So the point is that I've given you reasons. So when you ask me why, I'm giving you 3 premises that you can't really negate easily. You don't have a big position against these other than to be cranky. So, I don't want you to think when you go off to college and you're sitting in Socratic seminar and somebody says, well, this really begs the question, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's not really what it means. Sometimes it's that what that person is meaning to say is raises a question. Here's an example. Xavier, can you read this?
Xavier is good at running and studying and talking in front of crowds. This raises the question, is Xavier the best student Yesrib has ever seen?
Okay, so we don't really know. I can't say that I'm not going to say he's the best student, I'm just saying, like, is he? And then I'm going to share some E4 data. E4 students at Yes Prep and C have higher averages than anyone else in the district. This begs, nope, it raises the question, are they working harder? Are they writing more timed essays? Do they complete more multiple choice? Are they having more checks for understandings? It raises these questions up. It doesn't beg them. It's not the same. And lastly, Erica, you read last.
Elizabeth Banger read over 2,000 pages in November and December long. This raises the question, does her love for reading help her read faster?
Okay, good. So just kind of a life lesson, raising the question versus begging the question. You can call someone out in your college classroom. It's not the same thing.
You actually
But, you know, you can be kind of like amiable about it instead of acrimonious.
you're great.
Wow, I guess you didn't have a good education. All right, anyway, just kidding. Don't be unkind. So here we go. Are you ready for discovery learning?
Yes.
Some of you maybe have a sense of what begging the question is already, and that's fantastic. Keep it to yourselves. Here we go. I'm going to give you some written examples, and then I'll show you videos, and then I'll have you tell me what they are. So I'm going to ask for a bunch of readers. Arissa, go.
Paranormal activists exist because I've had some crazy experiences that can only be described as paranormal.
Wow, sounds far out. Okay, Leo.
We know God exists because we can see the perfect order of His creation, an order which demonstrates supernatural intelligence in its design.
Okay, I want to preface this entire logical fallacy by saying that people use begging the question, aka circular reasoning, in an argument for God and against God. So I don't want you to think like I'm breaking down Christianity as we're walking through this. That's not my intention. That's not what I mean. I just mean that sometimes we have to examine the arguments of others. Sometimes they're used with a kind of weakness, both for and against the existence of God. Okay. Christian.
The Napkin religion is the one true religion because it says so right here on this napkin.
Wow. I have no belief.
That's compelling. I know. You're questioning your belief systems. I know. Clarissa.
Solitary confinement is a morally justified punishment because it is an appropriate and legal response to violent behavior.
Okay, so again, you can start to see this circle. It's a morally justified punishment. Why? Because it's an appropriate response to behavior. Why? Because it's morally justified. Why? Because it's an appropriate response to that kind of behavior. Has anyone ever critically examined this tune? I'm hot because I'm fly. Why are you fly? Because I'm fly. Because I'm hot. Why? Because I'm fly. You ate. Why not? Because you're not. This is what happens in my head when I listen to the radio. Why not? Because you're not. Okay. Again, circular reasoning. The Bible is the Word of God. Okay, but how can you be sure it's the Word of God? So instead of going into an intellectual, theological debate, you say, because the Bible tells me so. Well, why would you believe the Bible? Because the Bible's infallible. Well, how do you know it's infallible? Because it's the Word of God. Well, how do you know it's the Word of God? Because the Bible tells me so. So we're not really unpacking these arguments and looking at any evidence. We're just going in circles. I think, therefore I am. How do you know you exist? Because I think. How do you know you think? Because I exist. You're turning into like a cartoon. Okay, I need someone to play John and someone to play Juan. Aurelio, you are John. Jose, you are Juan.
This is just so wrong.
Hi.
Never mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Schools should most definitely continue to have students read textbooks. If they don't, they won't be well educated.
What does it mean to be well educated?
Knowing what's in the textbooks.
So you're saying the student will know what is in the textbooks if they read the textbooks?
Thanks, gentlemen.
Why am I Juan?
What? Because you are.
You didn't say that.
Why?
Okay. All right, get ready.
Something you said in your lecture bothered me.
Hold on.
Professor Appenstall, something you said in your lecture bothered me.
And what might that be, my dear?
You said that it is important for people to maintain vigorous exercise into old age, but I do not see how that is possible.
It is not clear to me why you are saying that. Do you mind elaborating on what you mean?
Well, Professor Appenstall, old people cannot exercise that vigorously, because vigorous exercise is not for old people.
I'm sorry, but that does not prove your point at all. This is circular reasoning, my dear. Your conclusion is merely restating your premise. Why do you think this?
Because when you are old, your body wears out. It doesn't work well anymore, and old people are not capable of vigorous exercise, because their bodies have become old.
My dear girl, this is not only circular reasoning again, you are also making an assumption that old people are not capable of vigorous exercise. I will have you know that I swam the English Channel last year during my summer holiday. Indeed, you have a lot to learn about becoming old.
Well, you are an unusual case, Professor Appenstall. Most old people have a hard time walking around the block.
Well, my dear, I hope you too will defy the odds of an old and decrepit body.
Me too, Professor Appenstall.
Goodbye.
Oh, caning has fallen out of fashion in the United States. Caning.
What is caning?
Watch this.
Something to do with Singapore. So caning is when you would take what is it?
Is it when kids get in trouble in class?
Mhm.
And they hit them?
Yeah, really hard. It makes some serious, serious damage. Okay, so she says caning has fallen out of favor in the United States. So you know her position already.
Works. And I think it's about time we did a little more of it right here. And to all those naysayers out there who say that's illegal, you can't strike children on their bare buttocks with razor-sharp bamboo sticks. Well, to them I say, yes, we can.
This clip shows circular reasoning because she's
Okay. So why can we cane children? Because we cane. Why? Because we cane. Okay. I might need to. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. He is quiescent.
Be quiet, one.
Not fun. Juana. Yeah.
We just give them a view and we didn't want to give them.
Okay, so he is going to use circular reasoning to make fun of Rick Santorum's circular reasoning. Look away. Look away.
Drink.
This is not part of the argument. Okay.
Nation, I'm in no position to judge other people. Now I am. This is tip of the hat, wag of the finger. Folks, whoever gets the Republican nomination is going to work hard to overturn Obamacare. Now, obviously, people are sick out there, so what do we do? Luckily, Republican candidate Rick Santorum has the right perspective. At a recent campaign stop, Santorum was asked how he feels about the, quote, 50,000 Americans who die every year with no health care. Well, Rick looked deep inside and said, I reject that number completely, that people die in America because of lack of health insurance. People die in America because people die in America. You can't argue with that logic, because you can't argue with that logic. But clearly, folks, there is still a problem with all these people dying, which is why I'm issuing a wag of my finger at dead people for disrespecting the sanctity of life by choosing to be dead. Hey, I got nothing against dead people. I come from a long line of dead people. Hell, some of my best friends are dead. But when it comes to health, the dead need to take some personal responsibility. As Santorum continued, people make poor decisions with respect to their health and their health care, and they don't go to the emergency room or they don't go to the doctor when they need to. Yes, if you're dying of cancer, it's your own fault for not going to the doctor. And if you can't go to the doctor because you don't have insurance, then it's your own fault for not having a job. And if you don't have a job because you're dying of cancer, get yourself to a doctor. What is wrong with Other than the cancer, obviously. We have a serious health care problem in this country, folks.
Okay. Oh, I know. So funny. Okay, discuss in your table groups. What is begging the question? AKA circular reasoning. Come up with a definition.
Answer the question with that example.
Adding on. What do you think it is?
Using your argument. Using your question.
By repeating what? You're close, but you're not there yet. What do we think?
So using your argument. You're using your thesis to build an argument.
Your thesis? I need a different word. Using your thesis to build an argument? Using your what?
Argument to answer your argument.
I think we need to do more practice with syllogisms, or practice at all. Okay. Using your, what is it? One piece of your argument?
Your statement to answer
your statement. Okay, better word for that would be premise. Okay. So what is an argument anyway? So you're using thesis. Several premises. When you write a timed essay, when you write a defend, challenge, qualify, you have 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 different premises you can use to support your argument. All of them prove some conclusion. Defend, challenge, qualify. You're not convincing anybody of a specific premise. You're using a premise to support an argument. So, in begging the question, you're arguing a premise. And let me get through this in a second. You'll see kind of what I mean. So, begging the question is what John does in an argument when he assumes what he claims to be proving. He uses his claim as a premise. So, does anyone know the old adage about what happens when you assume? You can say it. You make an ass out of you and me. You sound like a fool. Stop assuming things when you don't have evidence. Okay, so abortion is the unjustified killing of a human being and therefore is murder. Murder is illegal, so abortion should be illegal as well. Maybe we've heard this argument before, but we need to unpack it and break it down. Okay, so this is what it looks like. His claim is that abortion should be illegal, a really debated point in our country today. In fact, one, I think the candidates discussed last night or have been discussing in the recent debates. So the premises are as such. Abortion is murder, and murder is illegal. Therefore, abortion should be illegal. Premise, conclusion. Is murder illegal? Thanks, one of you for nodding. Oh my gosh, it is illegal. Murder is illegal, guys. Okay.
What?
Murder is not okay. Key point of the lesson. Murder is not okay. But the fact that, or the idea that abortion is murder has a spectrum of options. Some people say yes, and what that relies on is that you think that at conception you have a human being. And therefore, if you kill a human being, that is murder. And so if you believe that premise, then yes, then you would think that abortion would be illegal. If you don't believe that a fetus is an actual human being, and you don't believe it like until it's born, considered or it's defined as a human being, this falls apart for you. So you're assuming that everybody in the room believes that this premise is actually true. Does that make sense? So you're begging us to accept it. So if you were my audience, I would say, I beg you to believe that abortion is murder, even if you don't. This is undeniable. This can be debated. Okay. Any questions so far? So in our last minute, which of the following is not begging the question? Write down maybe the first 2 words of the one that you see that is not begging the question. You want me to read them? Will that be helpful? Yeah, you can move if you can't see. Oh, Jill, can you scoot back a little bit? Okay, thanks. All right, so Ron Paul is the best candidate for president because he's way better than the others. Is that begging the question? Yeah, because I'm assuming you think he's way better. Vanilla ice cream is the most delicious flavor because it's my favorite. Is that begging the question? Yes. Yeah, what if it's not your favorite? What if you think it's disgusting? The charges of police brutality are false because law enforcement would never do something like that. Yeah, you're laughing, which is a good sign. Yeah, that's false. Alfredo was accepted to UT because his exemplary test scores and unique personal essays. Do you get accepted into UT if you have awesome test scores and yeah, you do. So that's fine. That's a valid reason. Ryan Gosling was the best actor to play the lead role because the casting committee would never choose second best. Okay. We're gonna have to pick up the rest of this tomorrow. You need to read through 174. Time flies around you so much. Through 174. Stack your chairs. Thank you for coming.